Hey, it's Jim Abbott. I'm here in New York, April 3rd. My book comes out today. We're making the media rounds. It's going to be a great day.
Yes, indeed, Jim. Welcome. First off, the new book you wrote with Tim Brown, very respected baseball writer, Imperfect, An Improbable Life. I very much enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Great read.
Well, the book Imperfect, it's a tribute to my parents in a lot of ways. You know, they made me feel as though my hand was a challenge, that I had the strength to live up to that responsibility of being different.
Jim, thanks for your time.
Thanks, Duke. Appreciate it. All right, so we're all finished up at Fox 5 with Duke. Had a great time. We're off to the next stop. I grew up in the Midwest, in Flint, Michigan. A great hometown. It was filled with great people and tremendously optimistic people. I got involved with sports probably for a couple different reasons. I think initially because my dad played sports. You know, he was a young guy when I was a young kid, and he was a pretty good high school athlete. He played football and basketball, and so as the seasons changed in Michigan, we played all the different sports together. And as I grew up and as I became more aware of I guess how I was different than other kids, I sought out a level playing field. I sought out a place where I could be like everybody else. I did play quarterback in high school. We had a really good team at Flint Central High School, one of the best teams in the history of our school. But you know, that came to be through, again, the generosity of somebody seeing something in me that I didn't even know. I never played football. The high school coach called me up one day, Joe Ufinger called me up and said, hey, we need a backup quarterback. You know, get down here, you're going to play some football this year. And to me, that's what football symbolizes to this day, is that willingness for somebody else to come in and say, we can do this.
You played the position as well as any pitcher. That to me was the most amazing thing to watch, is you fielding a ground ball.
Well, you had to take advantage of those outs. You know, those outs come at a premium, and you better be able to field your position. And I took great pride in that.
Hey, there's rumors that you used to hit home runs in batting practice. Rivera says that he swears you used to hit home runs.
I did hit a couple home runs off of Ron Guidry.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, Ron used to come to spring training and throw batting practice, and then we'd hit and kind of have some fun. I don't know exactly why we were doing that, but Mariano Rivera was a young kid, just about ready to break through when I was there. And I found that funny that he remembered that.
Jim, thanks so much,
Hey,
man.
Absolutely.
This has been great. Thank you.
Yep. Jim Abbott, everyone.
All right, that wasn't too painful. That was fun. Opie and Anthony, cross it off the list. On our way to Boomer and Carton. Pitched at Michigan. I pitched on the USA teams. I played on the Olympics. Things started happening so fast. Recognition of my playing, you know, media kind of caught on to my play, and so there was always another story, and there were these great newspaper columnists and televisions would come and describe my play in all these wonderful ways. You know, it was inspirational, or it was courageous, but no matter where I was, whether it was at Michigan or the Olympics, I was still doing what I loved to do. The first newspaper article that was ever written about me was I was 12 years old in the Flint Journal. A writer named Chuck Johnson wrote an article about Jimmy Abbott. The title was Jimmy Abbott Special in More Ways Than One. And I took endless ribbing for that title. But in it, I was quoted as saying, I look at major leaguers and wish it was me. And my mom still has that article on her wall in the office where she works because of the improbability of that quote. She said nobody ever dreamed that that would actually come true someday. You know, it's lifelong, Boomer. You know, it's still to this day, there's situations and places that I walk into, even after all I've been through and after all I've seen people go through, and you know, you slide your hand in your pocket. There's that awkward second glance walking down the street here in New York. You know, that's just it is what it is. But as you get older, and it's one of the things that helped me to write this book, is that you start to understand that those differences can be your strengths. And it's those things that can provide a drive and an ambition. And I know that the experience of my life has been enhanced by the fact that I was missing a right hand.
And again, the book is An Improbable Life. Boomer's right. Great Father's Day gift, especially for the baseball fan in your household. Jimmy, it's a pleasure having you in here, kiddo. Anytime, we'd love to have you back. Thanks for coming in.
It was a treat. Thank you very much.
Jim Abbott, everybody.
Jim is truly a great inspiration. His story, the way he's lived his life, and now setting the example through this book is absolutely tremendous. And as a former athlete that grew up kind of like touring the same era, I can't tell you how proud I am of him.
All right, well, that's it for the morning. I can't believe it's still so early in the morning. We did the Boomer and Carton show. Good guys. Have a little lunch. Get back after it this afternoon. I was drafted with the Angels, and the Olympics were going on, so we couldn't sign a professional contract. You had to wait to get your professional career started. So I went into spring training. Major League spring training was my first experience in professional baseball. And I wasn't destined to make the team or supposed to make the team. I was supposed to go to the minor leagues, but it turned out that there was a place in the rotation. I pitched pretty well. And opening day, Anaheim, California, 1989, I was on the Major League roster. And another pinch yourself moment. So to come to New York City, and at that time the Yankees were just beginning their ascendancy to come back to real competitive team, and so I didn't know what to expect. And I'll admit, the first few days before I really imagined myself in the pinstripes, there was a real uncertainty. But they had a big press conference. It was the same winter that they got Paul O'Neill and Jimmy Key and Spike Owen. And we flew here, my wife and I flew to New York City, and when I met those guys and I saw the kind of competitors they were, and I saw New York, the city, I started to get very excited. The opening line in the book is from a friend of mine, a sports psychologist, a man named Harvey Dorfman, who said, so what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? And we all will be challenged. We know that. Challenge comes in a lot of different forms, sometimes with adversity, sometimes with success and higher expectations. But the question's the same. What are you going to do about it? And in a lot of ways, this book is my reply to what I tried to do about my difference. I appreciate it, and I have great memories of Toronto, drafted by the Blue Jays, and I've always had great support up there, so I'm really glad we had a chance to do this. All right, so we finished up all our interviews today. It's been a long day, been a whirlwind day. We're outside the studios here at ABC. We get a little bit of a break, and we're heading over to Barnes & Noble for a book signing. So thanks for following along. See you in a bit. That no-hitter day, I can't explain the uncertainty that was there in that game. And it's funny to me that thinking about this book, how many of the great moments in my life followed real uncertain times. And that game in particular, I pitched against the Cleveland Indians that day. I had pitched against them 5 days before, and I got shelled in Municipal Stadium. And here I was 5 days later. We were in the pennant race. And I was in trouble with my manager. I wasn't doing that well that year, and we're facing the same team that just shelled me. And so I walked out on that mound that day. The last thing on my mind was a no-hitter. I was a little wild. I walked a few guys early in that game. Matter of fact, the first pitch of the game went all the way to the backstop. But all of a sudden, the trust started to come back. The ball started coming out of my hand a little bit better, and looked up in the fifth inning, sitting in the dugout, and saw that we were winning 4-0, and thought that's a little bit different than last time. And then I noticed they didn't have any hits, and that's when it started. That's when the momentum and the excitement, and when I started to feel the fans and feel the energy of Yankee Stadium. There were 2 outs, 9th inning, places. People are literally jumping up and down in the stands, and to say that you can't feel that energy, it would be a lie. I mean, you're feeding off it, and you know that you feel the anticipation in Yankee Stadium. And Carlos Baerga came up to bat, and I threw a breaking ball that was a little bit high, and the umpire called it a strike, and he complained about it a little bit, so the tension rose a little bit more, and Matt Noakes called for a slider outside part of the plate. Carlos Baerga was hitting left-handed that day, And I threw a pretty good pitch low and away, and he hit a ground ball to Randy Velarde. And I swear to you, that ball took a half hour to get there. But Randy hung right with it. It took a little bit of a bad hop at the end, a little bit of a short hop, and he threw a bullet across the infield to Donnie Mattingly. And I'll never forget seeing Donnie throw his hands in the air and saying, "That's it. It's over." 27 outs. It's a no-hitter. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. I'm blown away. Thank you so much to all of you for making time out of your busy lives and your busy night to be here. This is a thrill for me. It's a day that I had a hard time ever imagining happening, and here we are, and you all being here makes it very special. So I very much appreciate it. You always believe in yourself. Don't give in to that, okay? Never feel sorry for yourself, because you're going to do great things in this world, right?
Before Jackson was born, we had a lot of questions and a lot of uncertainties, but now that he has been with us for almost 3 years, we know that he can do anything. And then to see someone like Jim, who's very inspirational, then it's like seeing right there in front of you that all that could be possible, all that exists.
At my 20-week ultrasound, I found out that my son was going to be born similar to Jim, and I contacted him via email, and he hand wrote me back a beautiful note and a picture, and to be able to come here today and thank Jim personally for taking the time out it's tremendous.
There were several inspirations to write the book. One of them was I still get a lot of cards and letters from kids across the country and parents across the country who are different, who may be missing a hand. I always felt that my responses were a bit inadequate, that that one-page letter, those couple paragraphs that I would try to type out and the photo that I would try to include were nice, but somehow I wasn't able to encapsulate the entire experience, that I wasn't able to share the people that supported me, the places that I went, the disappointments that I had, the triumphs that I had. And the book allowed me a chance to do that in long form, to say, this is what I went through. That you aren't bound by the circumstances of the way you were born. And you aren't bound by the situation that you may find yourself in at this particular moment. I know you're going to go through difficult times, but believe me, if you're optimistic and have good people around you and believe in what's possible, so many good things can happen in this world. I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change a thing. And that's not to say that there aren't moments that I wasn't comfortable being the way I was born, and that it was always easy. I didn't always like this little land. But being older now, and that's what I love about the perspective of this book. I am older now, and I've had a chance to look back. I love the places that baseball took me, that my upbringing took me, that my hand took me. I feel like all of those things have combined for a richness of experience that I'm incredibly thankful for.